Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with members of the BVI Forward campaign team, Director of Financial Services Implementation Unit, my good brother, Kedrick Malone. Good to see you.
Pleasure to be here. Thank
Yes. And of course, Mrs. Lana Smith, initiative sponsor, engaging the population, and member of the team. That's your handle for tonight, right?
Yes. Yes. Call me what you will.
It's always good to see you as well.
Thank you.
And Mr. Garrett Thomas, Managing Director of Estera.
That's right.
Yeah, formerly Appleby.
That's right.
Yeah, change the name. And you are an endorser of the BVI Forward campaign.
That's right.
Okay, cool. Well, let me start with you, Kedrick. And, just as briefly as you can, tell us a little bit about the BVI Forward campaign. I know a lot has been said about it already,
Right,
and
right.
I think it's got some good wide circulation, but just to put us in context.
Well, in short, the Forward campaign is the government's program to strengthen the financial services sector. We know that there have been a lot of issues in the industry. We still at the tail end of a financial economic crisis. There's increased competition. The government saw the need to strengthen the sector to create a new roadmap to get us on a more sustainable path. So they commissioned a study by McKinsey & Co., a global financial consulting company, that they produced a report. They recommended 40 initiatives. The government prioritized 10, and they gave us 2 years to implement those 10 initiatives.
Okay. And this, I call a promotion campaign.
Yeah.
Is part of that first stage in the initiative.
Yeah, the initiatives are geared to overhaul the financial services sector, to look at the various parts of it, like the FSC, the International Finance Center, look at immigration and labor policies, to look at our infrastructure issues, to look at how we bring products to market, called business development, to look at finding new products to bring to the marketplace so we have a more diverse product, to help BVI lenders to develop more capability, to make them better prepared to participate in the industry. And most importantly, there was an initiative to create a communication program so that everyone in the BVI understands the importance of the industry, how it affects our daily lives. And that is what we're here to talk about, a little bit about the industry and to reach out to the wider community.
Let me engage Lana. We don't really know. We have an idea of what financial services is and what it means, and a lot of times we buy into the international community's definition of financial services because we don't know, and while we don't want to think that is a tax evasion or tax avoidance business that we are in, deep down inside, that's what we feel because of what the onslaught of information that they just bombard us with, because nobody else is saying otherwise. What say ye?
Cromwell, you are right. Financial services is not about tax evasion or tax avoidance. Financial services, we all know the usual thing in the British Virgin Islands, that 60 cents of every dollar that the government spends comes from financial services. And if you break it down further in terms of the indirect expenditure, it comes to more in terms of the economy when you look at the money that is spent on rents and shopping and so on and so forth. In terms of the importance of financial services to the British Virgin Islands, it is important for us to understand what financial services really means in a very general sense, and then bring it closer to the British Virgin Islands. If I may use a very sort of broad definition, the financial services industry, it encompasses a very broad range of businesses that manage money, and it manages money in various ways through banks. We have several banks here in the British Virgin Islands, through insurance companies, through trust companies, a variety of ways in which we manage money. That is the general concept of financial services, and it's a global industry. It's very important to understand that. In terms of what the BVI offers, the BVI's offerings, as many of us know, are mainly incorporation services. We are the third largest incorporator in the world after Delaware and Hong Kong. We offer trust and fiduciary services that I'm sure Gareth will talk about. We offer some banking services, and so on. If I may just give a very quick example, coming back to the 60 cents out of every dollar that I talked about, how does it happen? And as I thought about it today, I thought of a very simple example of, say, a bank located in the United States wanting to make an investment in, say, Ghana in Africa. How do they do that? What's the easiest way of them doing that? They would contact a company in the BVI, one of the 100 or so trust companies in the BVI, and say, well, could we buy, or could you establish, set up, incorporate one or several companies.
A special purpose company.
A special purpose vehicle, exactly. And then that company is used for the investment. Let's say it's an electric company, a hydroelectric dam or whatever it is in Africa. So how do we get that 60 cents on every dollar? The BVI government is paid incorporation fees for each company or each vehicle that is created. So that is in essence how the whole, that's why I mentioned globalization and so on.
Okay, I want to use your example a little bit to clarify a couple of things. The bank now who set up the special purpose company has this company. This company is an entity in the BVI. It makes it easier for the investor, the bank, to do business on a global level. Why? How does it make it easier?
Banks, for a number of reasons, and Gareth could assist here, but for a number of reasons. Banks, for example, like using BVI entities. They like them because of the legal system, the fact that our laws are based on the English common law. They like them because in terms of should there be a dispute resolution, a dispute between various parties, they know that there is certainty in terms of the dispute resolution because of the strength of our commercial courts. They like them because they are cost effective, they are very simple to use. Using that very same example of a bank, you may have finances coming from a number of countries, China, the United States, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, wherever. And it's just easier to use a BVI.
So it's less red tape.
It's less red tape. They just find it simpler to use the BVI as a tax-neutral jurisdiction for, for that investment.
So it's ease of global movement of capital as opposed to avoiding taxes.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Is that's what you do, Garrett?
That's right. I mean, a very small amount in reality is tax driven. There's a variety of different reasons why you use offshore structures. It can be confidentiality, it can be tax neutrality, which the example Lorna was given earlier, and that's really a good one to kind of zoom in on, really, because this is becoming more and more popular. Is that whole tax neutrality?
What does that mean? Tax neutrality.
Say what you have is you have a company in New York, big company, and a big company in South America. They want to co-invest, do a joint venture in a mine in South Africa. One party won't want to use the law of New York, and one party won't want to use the law of, say, Brazil. So they need to agree on a law that is straightforward to use, has certainty of law, is backed up by the Privy Council of the House of Lords, has excellent service providers, and is a practical piece of legislation. And the nice thing about BVI legislation is obviously it's been improved upon over the years, but the cornerstone of it is still based very much in Delaware and UK law, so people understand it, people are comfortable with it.
Okay, so it's a neutral ground. So you don't have one advantage in your jurisdiction, and I have another advantage in my jurisdiction.
That's
we have a neutral ground where the playing field is level.
That's right, and people pay their taxes where they're supposed to pay them.
So there's not avoidance of
It's
taxes
not
at all.
avoidance. No,
It's
not.
a way of
It's
doing business where we can agree.
Exactly, and it
as
just
strangers who become partners.
It's exactly, and basically facilitates the plumbing of the capital flows around the world. I mean, that's basically what we do, and something that's overlooked.
So you mean money going through pipes? Yeah.
Legitimately, yeah. Legitimately. But something that's overlooked, which is important as well, is one of the reasons people use the BVI is because it's very efficient. There was an example late last year where a very renowned New York lawyer went on record by saying, we've used BVI for this transaction, we managed to get all pre-approvals and file a very technical document with a BVI registry that was accepted, because it was pre-approved, before the markets opened in New York. And that was done in 25 minutes. And the New York lawyer said on there, the soundbite was, we could not get this done anywhere in the world, not even in Delaware.
Oh, you don't have a little commercial with that?
Good idea.
That soundbite.
Good idea.
BVI, the most efficient offshore financial services in the world. Like, I'll do the voice. No, but that's interesting. Now you endorsing the whole BVI. Your company endorses the whole BVI, sponsors and endorses the whole BVI forward campaign. And do you feel the need for Virgin Islanders to really get a sense of what the financial services actually are that we provide, and what it means for the country and the individual in the country, as Lana explained?
The short answer is yes, and I can go on to explain why, Cromwell. Is obviously there's been lots of things, in the global media, local media, etc., over the last number of months. So I don't think anybody in the BVI needs to be reminded, I guess, about the importance of the financial services industry to BVI, and also how important it is to kind of have accurate information. That to be what is reported needs to be accurate. So I think, as an endorser of BVI Forward, but also as someone who's been living in the BVI for the last 15 years and considers it home, I think it's not only my responsibility, but it's everyone's responsibility to get on board with the correct messaging and accurate messaging. I think the government have done a fantastic job over the last month or so in terms of the messages that they've put out. Very well written, right on point messages to handle quite challenging times, and I think they've done a fantastic job there. I think the FSC, handled the break that came out very well. No knee-jerk reaction. It was considered. They explained exactly what they're doing, so that's good. And I think there's been a lot of people, who stood up and written very good arguments and very good pro-BVI stories at the right time right now. So I think that's excellent. And I think what BVI Islanders have to do, residents here, local media, they have to make sure that they're on point and everything that they're doing is forward-facing, accurate, reliable, credible information share. And that includes bloggers and everyone else, because sometimes we think we're living in isolation. We're clearly not.
We need a national effort
Yes.
in this. How is the BVI forward working?
We think it's working well. What we have done, we've developed a communication package trying to get the message out to the wider population. We've set up our own website, www.bviforward.vg, and anything you need to know about the program, about the initiatives, and any news relating to those is on that website. We have also published on that website you'll find something called Financial Services 101. Plain talk about financial services, no technical terms. Lawyers have a way of making things seem legalistic. So we've taken the language with the help of our friends in the industry and created plain talk answers to about 20 questions.
Yeah. We, as Virgin Islanders, we're now hearing of the importance of financial services, financial services, but we really haven't bought into financial services. It's something that's beyond our reach, and we are caring about it perhaps now more from an economic standpoint, but not from a participatory standpoint. I can't get a job in the financial services sector. I can't own a trust company. I can't do that international business that Exterra is doing. I could perhaps be a secretary. And I think that's your role, Lana, in the BVI Forward. How do you get Virgin Islanders to be a major players in the financial services industry and feel comfortable, like we are in the tourism industry? I could open a bar, I could open a restaurant, I could open a dive operation, I could have charter boats, I could do all those things. I could have little beach things on the beach to
cabanas and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
we get your drift. We got your
little
drift.
canoes and
Yes, yes.
bicycles on the water and all that stuff. We could do all that. That's like easy. Financially we could do it, but with financial services, we don't seem to be able to tap into that. Like there's this barrier, this glass ceiling, this sometimes double standard, some people might say.
I don't necessarily agree with you altogether,
Okay.
and I'll tell you why. There are about 4,000 or 5,000 people working in the financial services industry. That's why I went to pains was at pains to describe what
Right.
I meant by financial services. And many of those people are British Virgin Islanders. Later on in this program, you will see some of those people who work at very senior levels in the financial services industry. Gareth was very modest when you asked him about what we refer to as capability building within this program. He has lived here for many years, as he said, and I know he's worked very hard with BVI Landers to make sure that they get the requisite professional training to move up the ladder in financial services. And there are a number of persons, as I've said before, that are climbing that ladder that are in fact in very senior positions. I do accept, though, that there is room for much more improvement. And that is why we have, for years, established the Financial Services Institute, which comes within the ambit of the college at the moment, at least. And one of the important things that we are tasked with doing is strengthening that Financial Services Institute so that it provides more professional qualifications and opportunities for BVI landers to become even more involved in the financial services industry.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I
though.
catch it.
You
Yes, I
understand what I'm saying? I'm
understand.
not, I'm not
I
trying to put you in
know.
a defensive
But
position
no,
or anything
no,
like that.
no.
I'm just, in tourism, for example, I could build a villa, I could own a hotel. I could be on the business end of it. I don't have to settle for being an employee. I could be an owner. I could be and so I don't find that. I don't see that opportunity for me in the financial services sector. And I think for us as Virgin Islands, for us to really feel that we have some control, we have some opportunities, some real opportunities other than working, other than employment. We have some real business opportunities here. It's going to be, we got to realize Virgin Islanders come out of a culture of entrepreneurship.
That's
when I grew up
right,
in
yes.
East End, everybody was an entrepreneur. We ain't customer working for people. You check? So we need.
I get your.
I'm getting down here now.
No. I get your point, Cromwell.
So we need to know how we gonna get some more trust companies.
I'm not hogging this conversation.
Yeah,
but,
we got in your time running out.
I know, but I want to say this.
Yes.
That it depends on how you define, again, financial services. We have a number of our lawyers that are involved in financial services at a very senior level, at an ownership level,
I
as
know about
partners and so on.
Yes.
We have persons at the company service, the corporate level. I cannot say, Kedrick, that there are many owners, but they are involved at a very senior level. We are getting there. We are not there. I accept that we aren't there.
But
we are working on it.
A trust company. I mean, is there some kind of a business where I could facilitate paperwork? I could, some ancillary service that Garrett might need. That I could have a little company that could provide that ancillary service.
And
those kind of spin-offs and stuff. Yeah, like that.
There are those companies.
Yeah.
If and I know the focus of your question is very much about ownership. Ownership. So just to describe it and put it in context might be helpful. As Lorna said, in terms of law firms and accounting firms here, there's lots of BVI Islanders who are owners in those here. There's also lots of smaller, like say, facilitation services that provide services to trust companies, law firms, etc., that are owned by BVI Islanders. But when you talk about trust companies, that's going to be very difficult in the future for any small trust companies to exist in the global market. We've seen that internationally, that there's been consolidation, and now you'll be able to look around. If you look at any other offshore centre or even in the BVI, you will see consolidation happening. Small trust companies getting gobbled up by big ones, and that's because the cost of doing business is higher now, because you need your own compliance department, you need this, you need that, and it's the days are gone where you can survive on one or two.
Okay, I understand that, and so what I'm saying that as a method, my suggestion is as a method of BVI forward, gaining that type of support where we develop an emotional attachment rather than a strategic attachment or economic attachment, where we develop the emotional attachment that we have for tourism.
Right.
To develop the emotional attachment to financial services. I think that's the desire of BVI.
That is the objective of this campaign.
Exactly.
Right.
That is the objective,
and
and we're starting.
Yes. Right. So okay, we can't hope to have a trust company, but we could have a facilitating company.
Right.
We could, we could have, like I said, we could have bicycle paddling in the water. That would be the equivalent to what I'm talking about. Or we could have jet skis. Or we could have boat charters to go around the islands. I'm making an analogy here,
Right.
Because I don't know that. See, I don't know the ancillary services that exist. You need to tell us. You need to tell us what exists in the trust company, in the financial services industry that we can participate in.
And that is part of the program.
Yeah.
That will be.
That's what we need to know.
Yeah, and you'll meet some of the persons in the industry called the mentors. They'll be able to tell their stories, make that personal connection with BVI Islanders. And these are mentors who are owners as well as employees, and sort of tell how they got into the business, how people can prepare to get into the business. We also have a program called Financial Services Entrepreneurship, which will be coming as part of the capability building program. So it is something we're aware of. It is something that is coming, and this evening's program is just an introduction but there's lots to come in
And,
the program.
and I like to be one of those persons who help to facilitate that information on a regular basis. So
Okay, so we'll make
Thank
you
you.
we'll make you a
That's
champion.
great.
I'm making I make provisions for it because I think it's
Okay.
important. For
Very
us,
important.
it's very
Okay.
important for us. And of course, coming up we have Ayana Liebert. She is a a resident manager for Aleman, Cordero, Linda, and Lee, and she is also a mentor. We're going to talk to her coming up, and Vanessa King, because y'all, overstayed your welcome.
Okay, we're ready to be thrown out now.
We're going to take a break, and
Okay.
we're going to talk about some of those things that Ayana and Vanessa, and I don't know if Cal is here yet, as a tour operator, and how we're moving the BVI forward. Moving the BVI forward.
Right.
All right, so we're going to take a break for word for our sponsors. We're going to come right back with more right after this.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited, the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, and CCT Global Communications.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm enjoying myself because this is a very important topic, and I want to welcome Ms. Vanessa King. She's a partner in head corporate and commercial, at O'Neill Webster,
That's correct.
and a member of Team BVI.
I am.
BVI Forward, right? Team BVI. Welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you very much.
Yes. And Miss Ayana Liebert, Mrs. Ayana Liebert, resident manager of Elaman, Cordero, Galinda, and Lee, and a mentor, BVI Forward campaign, and of course our good brother, Kyle Scatliff, also known as Dub, my basketball partner, tour operator, BVI Forward champion. Welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you.
Okay. What does it mean? What is your role?
I'm a member of Team BVI. Team BVI was started by BVI Finance, which was then BVI International Finance Center many years ago. And what it did is they created different teams for different sectors of the financial services industry. So you have a team for trust, a team for funds, a team for litigation, and so forth. And what the teams do is provide a resource for government. So we provide information on trends and what's happening in the industry. We'd assist the government in creating marketing plans for the industry. And with the BVI Forward campaign, we provide guidance to people like Carl, the champions, on what the industry is. And we go with them into the community to educate the community about what the industry is and what the industry does for them.
Okay. And as a mentor, you're mentoring who? For what reason?
Well, the idea is the mentor is someone who has passed through the industry. We've come into the industry through various facets, and essentially we're there to guide persons who are interested, young persons that are interested in becoming a part of the industry, what the expectations are, what are the possibilities for them in terms of career opportunities, and so forth.
Yes, I should be asking you the question that I asked Lana. Okay, I'm sorry. And Kyle, you are
I'm the champion this year. I'm the one
you're
supposed
the
to be
champion.
Going out and taking the word out to the general public, letting them know what financial services are all about, what it helps us in the community and stuff like that. Alongside my mentors and my partners here.
So they give you the information.
They give me the guidance.
And you take it out. You bring it out the mic. You bring it out the mic.
To your level, like the question you're asking.
Cool. Well, okay. Your role as guiding young persons in the BVI through the financial services participation process. Let me call it that. How does that work? What are you saying to young people?
Well, I think the easiest thing to do is to tell them how I myself became a part of the industry, the road that I took. For me, I didn't start working in the industry. I actually started working on the other side with the regulator being responsible for the supervision of the industry. And so that provided me with what I would consider a very good foundation that I then transitioned into the private sector with. From there, becoming a client-facing professional was a different experience.
A client-facing
Professional, yes.
So I mean direct contact with the client.
Direct contact with the clients, international
I'll give this
based.
to somebody.
That presented its own. It was an interesting transition, to say the least. But I have relished in it, and I've enjoyed it completely.
What kind of qualification do you have to have?
Well, the interesting thing, and I
Or what
should-
you started off with?
What did I? Well,
yeah.
I started off with a bachelor's and master's degree, but the realities are that with financial services, that's not really what you have to do. Lorna mentioned the Financial Services Institute, which opens the doors to other qualifications that you can get without actually having to stop work, that you can actually do part-time, that you don't necessarily have to take you 4 years to complete, but is actually more practical than getting a bachelor's degree. So I would suggest things like that. So you're talking about the Society of Trust and Estate Practitioners route, which is giving you a diploma in trust and
Estate planning.
The Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators, which gives you another qualification that is more, in my opinion, applicable than a bachelor's degree in some instances.
So a young person coming out of high school, or even college, wanting to get into financial services, you know, what kind of jobs are available? What services you provide as a employee? What do you work at?
Well,
What job can you get?
Traditional jobs, we spoke about them before: lawyers, accountants, corporate administrators. But what I would consider the non-traditional opportunities are becoming more available, which are areas in IT, because of all the data protection concerns, as well as human resources. Those are, so it's not just about being a lawyer and accountant. There are other opportunities based on what you think your strengths are.
If you were to get in on the ground floor, a young person out of HNSCC, for example, out of the Financial Services Institute, and you were to get in on the ground floor, I mean, can you get in as a receptionist or a secretary and work your way through various departments and pick up on a niche that you could find yourself attached to, or something that you may like? How will that work?
I think that's exactly the way to do it in many cases, because financial services industry is so diverse, as Lorna was saying. And to me, the best thing to do if you're coming out of college and you're not sure what area you want to go in is to go in and get some experience and see which area you like. And then the Financial Services Institute at the college is a perfect opportunity for you then to get accredited in whether it be in compliance or as a corporate secretary or somebody in trust and estates, and then move forward. But the experience and the knowledge of the industry is extremely important. And somebody who is young and just coming out of college or high school wouldn't have that knowledge. They wouldn't know where they want to go. So I would encourage anyone who wants to really get into the industry at a young age to go in and get that experience and then decide where you want to go.
Okay. Let me give you a chance, head up, because we're finally at 30 o'clock. What have you been doing, and how have you been fulfilling your role as a champion on the ground, as a tour operator, and in advancing the cause, advancing the Buy BVI Forward campaign?
Well, as a tour operator, we get faced with a lot of people coming out of the ships, asking information, and they listen at we're a financial destination and stuff like that. What is it all about and stuff like that. And a lot of the information that I would relate to them is based on the information that these folks are here talking about. So that's where I think my role comes in and trying to educate people on what the financial services is all about. Because we get faced with it every day, So, you let them know, well, this is what, because everybody thinks it's a tax haven. That's the first question.
Right.
You guys are tax haven, we can hide our money and stuff like that. And you have to educate them. Let them know that it's not a tax haven. And
so then you have to. So then you are au fait, or you know a lot about, or you know something about.
Well, you have to.
You know something about what the service is at.
Well, I'm familiarizing myself right now with a lot because, like you already mentioned, when we thought of financial services, it seems like it was up here and we're down here.
Yes.
So what I'm doing right now is just trying to familiarize myself with a lot of the
Vanessa is
industries.
giving you the information that you need.
Well, I'm learning as we go along. Yes, yes. Basically.
Okay. And so have you had an opportunity to talk to persons about it as yet?
Well, right now it's just a tourist. We haven't had the opportunity to go out into the community, and I think this is just the start of it. So once, the launch is gone, and you see a lot more of us out there, so making our names and the information public. But right now, I'm just dealing with the tourism industry.
Okay.
Which you shouldn't downplay. That's a very important
Well,
role.
I know he's trying to be modest.
Yeah.
He's at the front line.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
He's at the front line. So you got to bone up on the stuff. You got to really know what you're talking about.
Of course.
I right now I'm afraid to ask you why you know. And so you have to exude more confidence.
I don't be afraid if you ask me. I'll be surprised.
You have to exude more confidence. You have to, you got to articulate.
Well, when it comes to that, I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Because particularly in light of all the negative publicity we've been getting, you have to be able to say, listen, it's about managing trust and managing insurance and facilitating global capital flows. You got to get into the economics of it.
I'm glad that you mentioned some of the question also of what locals and stuff we get into, and this is just a part of where this local is now getting into it. Because like I said before, I thought it was off limits to us.
Yes.
But being that we're in the front line, when we have to be educated on a lot of the information that comes out, it's our duty to go out there and study and learn and find out what we offer, because that's the first thing they're going to ask you.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you been meeting with a lot of local people, and what kind of responses have you been getting?
Well, the program has just started in that regard. So the stage that we're at now is educating the champions, and they have champions in different fields. You have some in entertainment, at the college, different sister islands, like there's one in Jos Van Dyke, and so it's educating them so they can go out and spread the message. I think the second phase then would be going into the community and educating the community. And I think an important message which Carl touched on a while ago is really having the BVI community understand that this industry is our industry and that we have to protect it. And Carl is a perfect example of somebody on the front line who needs to understand what the industry is about, so he can speak to those naysayers and those who just don't know. They might not be trying to hurt the industry, but they just don't know. So he can educate them because it's his. He owns. There's an ownership in that regard.
And absolutely, we don't feel like it's ours. And I suspect that at the end of this campaign, and do we have a timeline for the end of this campaign, or is it going to be ongoing?
I think the FSIU has a two-year lifespan. But I think this kind of campaign is something that should always go on from generation to generation, because financial services industry is something that will always exist. And so everybody should buy into it and understand the importance of it.
So the first thing here now, and that's a very important word, always exists, is that we should have, and despite what we've been hearing, we should have a sense of secure optimism.
Yes.
For sure.
For sure.
Yes.
So these people are not going to succeed in destroying our financial services.
No, and financial services is dynamic.
Yes.
It's going to change its different forms, and so. But financial services industry will exist because, there's always a need for it. People always want to invest. They want to find, economically safe ways to invest, and so there will always be
easy ways to
easy
invest,
ways,
protected ways, secure ways to
exactly, and legitimate ways to invest. So financial services will always exist, and it's for us to make the most of what we have of the pie.
Yes.
And I think to understand, and we're on the turning of the clock, but to understand that the money that comes into the treasury, that comes into the environment, is money that needs to circulate in order so that I could get some to pay for my mortgage, my children's education, buy food, clothes, and I like clothes and shoes.
Don't we all?
But really, seriously,
Yeah.
it's like you could think of it as your job getting income coming into your family to buy the things, well, that money comes, we don't print money, that money comes from financial services.
Exactly.
Most of that money comes from
Yes.
financial services, so we need to own it and we need to protect it. And regardless of political affiliations, when it comes to financial services,
Come on,
everybody
everyone.
need to get together. It's just one
It's
BVI.
one, exactly.
And whoever come up against
Exactly.
us, we are ready to kill them. You know, I mean, that's a little
Still have a little question.
And it comes directly and indirectly to us. It comes directly through, as Lorna said, incorporation fees, but it also comes indirectly from rent, from people shopping here and buying
Yeah.
here, people coming and staying in our hotels because they're meeting with lawyers or
people come into the airport,
People-
people come in.
people using taxis
I
to
mean,
move
it comes
around.
in variety. That's something we need to discuss as well. How does that money, that financial services money, get here, and how is it circulated? I think it's important for us to know that to have buy-in. So next month, we are going to have that discussion. So
Yeah.
tune in to keep it locked right here, Spotlight. We're going to be talking about financial services for the rest of the year, a month at a time. Listen, thank you guys for coming
Thank
by.
you for
very
having
much.
us.
Yes, we got to go, and sorry the time was so short, but we'll make it up in the future.
Oh, no
Yes.
problem. I think it was a good start.
Yes.
Next week, the spotlight is going to shine on a brilliant young lady, teacher Sherry DeCastro. She's committed her life to giving her children, to giving our children the most important gift they can have, the gift of reading. So be sure to tune in. Of course, Spotlight is seen every Tuesday here at JTV Channel 55 and rebroadcast on Sunday afternoons at 2:30. You can like my Facebook page. I ain't getting enough likes. I ain't getting enough views. Look like ain't nobody studying me. And I know you all watching because they tell me so every day. So like my Facebook page, Spotlight BVI, facebook.com/Spotlight BVI. It make me feel like, you're there. And of course, you could go on Spotlight Facebook page and see all the spotlights that we've had in the past. Also, you could go to jtvlive.net and you could see Spotlight on demand, all the ones that you missed. So make sure you check that out as well. I'm Ed Juvenka, reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands and CCT Global Communications.